Hello and welcome back to Everything Boats with Captain Franklin here, where we discuss boats and boating, from maintenance and repairs to seamanship and safety, as well as everything in between. This podcast is a companion to my YouTube channel of the same name, so if you like and find it useful, be sure to subscribe and please check out my YouTube channel as well, where you'll find hundreds of informative videos on pretty much every boating topic imaginable. Today we're going to be discussing how to give someone a tow the right way. Despite the proliferation of commercial towing companies, there will be times when a fellow mariner can arrive on scene and offer assistance faster than a professional first responder. Let's take a look at what you need to know in order to protect yourself and those you're trying to help. First off, we're going to talk about the basics of towing. While providing a non-emergency tow, in other words, a boat and the occupants are not in any immediate danger, may be the most common form of assistance. That doesn't mean it's commonly done correctly. Towing is not simply a matter of toss and bubble your ratty dock line and goosing the throttle. Before offering a tow, there are things you as the captain will be required to know, both from a practical and legal responsibility standpoint. No set of guidelines will be able to cover every variable you'll encounter. However, the following tips should be useful in most any towing situation. That being said, let's talk about the 12 tips for towing that Captain Frank, that'd be me, recommends. First of all, number one, take a moment to assess the situation when arriving at the disabled vessel. Everyone wants to lend a hand whenever possible, but you have the responsibility to do so without placing yourself in danger or elevating the situation of the other vessel. For example, a boat that's aground could have sustained significant damage, causing it to sink once towed into deeper water. Tip 2, when towing, have the disabled boat pass the tow line over to the tow boat. This lets the towing vessel easily cast off once the tow is complete. A nylon anchor rod is ideal for this as it typically is easily available, is long, allowing for length adjustments, and provides good shock absorbing qualities due to the nylon's stretchiness. Tip 3, if the towing vessel has an on-centerline towing fixture, a pylon for skiing for example, it might make a good place to attach a tow line, assuming it's robust enough. Otherwise, you'll want to make a towing bridle. A simple bridle can be made by running a stout line between your two stern cleats. Attach the towing line to it using a bowline so that the loop can slide along your bridle. Keep the bridle loose enough to provide room for the tow line to slide freely, but not so loose that it could come in contact with your propeller. Tip number 4, establish communications before starting the tow and keep in constant touch throughout the tow. Using your VHF on a working or non-emergency channel will likely be the most common means of communication. However, cell phones or even hand signals will work. For the latter, make sure everyone understands the basic hand signals that you'll be using. Stop, slow down, speed up, release the tow, and the like. Tip number 5, once the tow line is attached to both vessels, take the slack out of the tow line slowly until the full load is achieved, at which point you can then throttle up to a suitable towing speed. Towing tip number 6, always agree on where the disabled vessel will be towed prior to heading out. It's also a good idea to have a contingency plan in place in case something goes wrong. In other words, the weather starts deteriorating, you get low on fuel or whatever. Tip number 7, maintain a tow watch during the tow, both to make sure the towed vessel is okay and to ensure that the tow line doesn't foul your propeller. Towing tip number 8, if towing in open water, increase the length of the tow line. This not only puts some safety distance between the two vessels, but it also increases the shock absorbing qualities of your tow rope. If towing in larger waves, adjust the tow line so that both boats ride in sync with each other at the wave crest or troughs, whichever one. Boats that are out of sync while towing can experience significant shock loading, causing boat damage, such as ripped out cleats, and injury to those on board. Towing tip number 9, shorten up tow lines in calm waters or when maneuvering in close quarters, such as approaching a boat ramp or dock. Always remember that just because the towboat stops, that doesn't mean the towed boat will quickly do the same. Towing tip number 10, provide chafe protection for the tow line anywhere it touches the tow or towed boat. Old fire hose makes great chafe gear, but even something as simple as a fish towel, an old piece of canvas, or a t-shirt will work in a pinch. On the opposite side of the equation, always keep a sharp knife handy should you need to sever the tow line in the event of an emergency. Towing tip number 11, make the tow as smooth as possible for the towed vessel. Try different speeds to find the best speed for both the boat being towed and the conditions. And finally, tip number 12, never hesitate to decline offering a tow if circumstances make it unsafe. Bad weather, rough seas, your boat's too small, or any circumstances that would introduce an element of danger to you or the towed boat into the equation. The bottom line is that while you're obligated to provide as much help as possible in the event of an emergency, you also don't want to attempt something that's beyond your capabilities, a situation that could create a civil liability for you. If the crew is stranded but not in imminent danger, the most prudent course of action may be to simply stand by and provide moral support until a professional tow company arrives to assist.